welcome everybody. Welcome to the workshop meeting for Monday, July 27th at 9 a.m. All right, colleagues, if you want to hit the ground running, tonight we're going to open with the call to order, and then we'll move on to the approval of the agenda on 2.1. But don't believe we have any recognitions. Administrative personnel appointments, we do have one under 4.1. We have the appointment of assistant principal at Meigs Middle School, recommended by the superintendent for approval. Then we will go to 5.1. We'll have public comment, agenda items only, the blue cards. Committee and staff reports will be next on 6.1. In-kind travel, that's going to be done by Julie Perry. We'll move on to 6.2, which will be the out-of-county travel paid for in June. That's going to be presented by Ms. Perry. Then we have 6.3, which is the quarterly report, service agreements under 10,000 threshold. That one's going to be done by Vince Wyndham, Director of Purchasing. All right. Number 7, of course, will be the consent agenda. We'll do 7.1, approval of the consent agenda. 7.2 will be approval of the minutes of the workshop for July 13th. 7.3 is going to be appropriation of District 2 school board member capital outlay funds to Fort Walton. That's going to be to the swim team. That one's done by me for $13.90.50. 7.4 will be invoices to be approved for payment, presented by Ms. Perry, the CFO, and recommended by the superintendent.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Kudos there, Ms. Perry. No POs. So that's twice this year. So excellent.
It's a big deal. Okay, 7.5 was going to be school donations, and that one's presented by Ms. Perry, the CFO, and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Mr. Heinley?
Mr. Chair, just want to identify we took in $2,000 in over $500 increments from the community. We had 1,000. The winner was 1,000. It was Seaside Engineering for Adopt a Classroom at Southside Primary. So our year to date is already at $47,890.86. So excellent.
Awesome. Okay, 7.6 is going to be the payroll warrant register and accounts payable warrant register totaling $69,901,345.81. Self-health insurance claims and fees totaling $3,749,005.63, and bank transfers totaling $29 million for June 2026. This is presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Then we'll have 7.7, which is a tag-on bid, the annual agreement, environmental consulting services. This is presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 7.8 is going to be the service agreement number 27-54, Lisa Boudreau. This is presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 7.9 is going to be service agreement 27-58, Jamie Fields. This is presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 7.10 is the service agreement number 27-59, Synced Up Designs. This is presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 7.11 will be the service agreement 27-66, Caton Thorne, presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 7.12, service agreement 2767, Robert Well. This is presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 7.13 is the sale and disposal of surplus property. This one is presented by Mr. McElroy and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Following that, we have 7.14. This is the K-12 Comprehensive Evidence-Based Reading Plan for 2025-26 school year. This is presented by Ms. Dale and recommended by the superintendent for approval.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Just a comment on that. The term comprehensive evidence is true to its term because that is 65 pages that I was going through. That is a lot of work that was put into that. I mean, and I went through it and saw where you're making your new goals and this is how it's going to be affected. So excellent work. That is a lot of very comprehensive.
All right. After that, we're going to have 7.15, which will be the state of Florida VPK Education Program statewide provider agreement for the fiscal year of 26 and 27. This one's presented by Ms. Dale and it's recommended by the superintendent for approval. 716 is the agreement between the School Board of Okaloosa County and the School Board of Walton County to provide ESE services to eligible Walton County students. And this one's presented by Ms. Ard and recommended by the superintendent for approval.
Madam Chair, sorry, Mr. Chair.
Phil Hannah.
So my understanding, this is the last student from Walton County that we're. That's correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and all the costs are reimbursed from Walton County for this thing. Okay, and so this is probably 2 more years we'll have with.
We'll bring up Ms. Ard.
Good morning. Yes, we have one student left that comes to us from Walton County. This is over the last 4 years. We have worked with their superintendent and ESE director. It's just been a long-standing relationship where their students came to our center schools, and we've worked together to have their children return to their communities and be educated in Walton County. So we do have one gentleman left. We kept all of the students in high school and the post-high school programs because we didn't want to adjust those students into something different. So we've kept them. So we have one young man that's still with us. He will be with us for this year, possibly next year, because they can stay with us through 22. He does have a one-on-one aid, but that's paid for by Walton County. The bus Walton County brings him, so we do not incur expenses. We are able to get reimbursed for anything for him.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Huntley, anything further on that one?
No.
Okay. All right. 717 is going to be the amendment to the Digby contract. This is recommending to term contract and produce a rollout for the end of the year, presented by Ms. Cato, and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. So this is the amendment to the Digby contract recommending to terminate and produce a rollout for the end of the year. And this one's presented by Ms. Cato and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Any other discussion on that one? Okay. Make that note. Okay, 718 is the cooperative agreement between the school district of Okaloosa County and the Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center. This one's presented by Ms. Schroeder and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 719 will be the memorandum of understanding between the School Board of Okaloosa County and Children's Volunteer Health Network to provide preventative and restorative dental services to students with parent consent, presented by Ms. Schroeder and recommended by the superintendent for approval. If I may, is Ms. Schroeder, can you just give, for the benefit of myself, but really the general public, this is such a wonderful program that I know a lot of our students take advantage of. I think they see the van out there and.
Yes, sir. So good morning. We actually, you'll see there's 3 specific agreements on here, and all 3 of these entities provide preventative dental services to our students free of charge. Obviously, it's with parent consent. So I'm very, very thankful for the cooperative collaboration that we have with these entities. They just provide a service that without it, many of our students wouldn't get. And so it's kind of hard to focus. If you ever thought about having a toothache and then trying to do math problems or learn to read, that's a distraction for our littles. And right now the focus is in our Title I schools and for our elementary kids. So that's what the 3 agreements that you're going to see before you tonight discuss.
Thank you, Ms. Schroeder.
Yep.
I just know that from old history, the common source of everybody's ailments were their teeth. I remember a time in Okaloosa County, especially in the north end before fluoridation of water, and a lot of our students had big issues with dental care and just access, the cost. It's a real issue. So to be able to provide this service to our students is immeasurable, because
It's a big deal.
It's something that's bedeviled us for a long time in the district, but this is wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. 7.20 is the memorandum of understanding between the school board and North Florida Medical Centers, presented by Ms. Schroeder and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 721 is the Florida Department of Education Mental Health Assistance Allocation Plan application. This one's presented by Ms. Schroeder and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 722, school affiliation agreement between the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida and Destination Health and Rehabilitation. This one's presented by Mr. Williams of OTC and recommended by the superintendent for approval.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to
Mr.
back
Heinlein.
up to 7.21.
Yes, sir.
And just highlight there, of all the charter schools, every single one of them definitely wanted to be part of our program. They have the option to do it on their own, but they see a good thing when they see it. So that speaks a lot.
Sure. No, it's a testament to the district's very serious approach to dealing with mental health. 722, we had jumped back. Colleagues, do we have anything on 722? That was a school affiliation agreement on Destination Health Rehabilitation, OTC. Okay. In that case, we're going to go over to superintendent's human resources recommendations, which will be section 8. 8.1 is going to be the information only. That's the employees on administrative leave presented by Ms. Maxey. 8.2 is again information only. This is the deferred retirement option program presented by Ms. Maxey. 8.3 is an addendum to the master contract between the School Board of Okaloosa County and the Okaloosa County Education Association. This one's presented by Ms. Maxey and will be recommended by the superintendent for approval. 8.4, cleared certification requirements and issuance of contracts for the 2026-27 school year. This is presented by Ms. Duron and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 8.5 will be out-of-field report for the 2026 school year presented by Ms. Duron and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 8.6, employment separations. This is presented by Ms. Maxey and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 8.7, personnel recommendations presented by Ms. Maxey and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 8.8 will be employee transfers. This one's presented by Ms. Maxey and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 8.9, employee suspensions presented by Ms. Maxey and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 8.10, employee termination presented by Ms. Maxey and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 8.11, reinstatement, reimbursement of sick leave, line of duty, illness, injury, medical examination. This one's presented by Ms. Maxey and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 8.12 will be the final one. That's the leave without pay. This one's presented by Ms. Maxey and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Number 9, discussion agenda. We don't have anything pulled for the discussion agenda. 10 will be the construction program owners representatives business. 10.1 is the program status report by the board's representative to the construction program. Mr. Heinlein, you did that last meeting, right?
That is correct.
Okay. 10.2, we have program number 6, task order number 41. This is time and materials district-wide food service upgrades presented by Mr. Keith and recommended by the superintendent for approval. All right. Number 11 is the attorney's business, 11.1. Mr. McGinnis, no report this morning. All right. That brings us to 12. Mr. Superintendent, floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Just want to give a couple updates to the board and then have a couple presentations. I first want to start with Project Search. Project Search is, you know, the program that we have with the Hilton. They work with our students who are transitioning to the workforce, and every year at the end of the year we go over there for the graduation. Well, they have received the Florida Project Search Excellent Outcome Award, and so that's not something that's just given out lightly. 45 active Project Search sites in Florida, and we're one of 5 to receive that prestigious distinction. And so you look across the entire country and you look internationally. We are, of the 800 Project Search programs globally, only 166 earned this prestigious award. And again, this is the ability of the hotel to work with the students to get an outcome to when they transition to the workforce, they can be successful. So this is very important for what we do. Ms. Art and her team are a big part of this, so just appreciate what happens with this program. Also want to just give a quick recognition, the Distinguished Young Women of Okaloosa.
Can I stop you real quick?
Go to it.
I just want to talk about Project Search. I attended the graduation, I believe, with you this past year, and very impressive. The lady that was up there on the left there with the art, she does good work. I mean, and the whole program, they got it regimented, and they put them in different aspects of that whole thing, and they graduate and sliding right into jobs. It's an impressive job, impressive program.
Yeah, Miss Beverly, the teacher there, does a absolutely outstanding job, and it was so nice to hear the student speeches
It was.
as well.
Yeah.
So just very job well done. We have congratulations. Do you have this on your list, Mr. Heinley? The distinguished young women.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to defer that over to you.
Gonna do it tonight.
Okay. And this is just a reminder, the Take Stock in Children Mentoring Program. So still looking for mentors. Matter of fact, this weekend I was talking to a gentleman in Niceville who wanted to take part in this, was asking me about it. So we have people who are understanding the need for this, but just a plug out to the public. We continue to need mentors, and it's a push that we do every year. And this is to help students from the time they hit 9th grade all the way through graduation, help keep them on track. These are some of our most incredible students who've worked hard to receive the opportunity to have a scholarship waiting on them when they graduate high school. So just need those mentors.
Mr. Chambers, I know some retired teachers that are consistently asking me how I can get involved. Can you give a real quick description, or Mr. Spolsky or somebody else, what exactly does the workload look like, and kind of what is the expectations of a mentor if they start in 9th grade?
Thank you, sir. Vice Chair Parker Destin, I'd like to say it is one of the most rewarding things you can do as somebody who is working directly with these students when they hit the 9th grade and they go to the 12th grade. We're asking that you meet with these students anywhere a minimum from 15 to 20 times throughout the whole school year. Usually the mentor meetings are 30 to 45 minutes long. You have the capability of doing in-person group meetings, or you can even do some digital meetings through the approved Take Stock in Children app. The young people are involved in a lot of activities, and as a mentor, even if you go and support them at their activities, whether it be in the band or a sporting event, you can count that as interaction as well. So it's very great to do.
Thank you, Mr. Spolsky.
Yes, sir. No, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Spolsky. And then going over to Kindergarten Kickstart. Some on this board may remember, and if you weren't on the board at the time, I'll just let you know, Dr. White had a conversation with me and said, what are we doing for our kindergarten students prior to the start of the school year? And with that conversation, we started Kindergarten Kickstart. And it started at one school, and now it's across all 11 of our Title I schools. So 326 students taking part in this program. And you can see just some of the pictures, and the goal is to get them acclimated to school. So when they arrive on that first day, which as you know can be overwhelming for a student coming in, but also for the parents as well. But just from understanding where the lunchroom is, understanding that we're lining up, understanding that there's rules and procedures and so forth, but just appreciate each of those schools and the teachers doing this during their summer. But it's a big deal for our families, specifically the students, but also the parents, because it's about creating that connection right away with students and families. Then just the reminder, we have our back to school sales tax holiday coming up. That's on August, that's through August 20th, so that's coming up. And then just a continued plug and reminder for our free and reduced lunch applications to come in. Just appreciate the work that our schools do. And then there's the reminder of the Stuff the Bus on August 1st. So that's coming up. I always get the question of, what do you all do during the summer? Or do you work during the summer? And we started this last year, just giving a quick overview of all that happens throughout the summer. But oftentimes, some folks might think that it's just getting ready on the curriculum side. And it's our transportation department getting ready with our bus drivers. It's food service doing their prep. It's our custodial folks behind the scenes doing training and getting ready for the upcoming year. It's the HR department doing all the hiring and the vetting and everything that happens. It's Mrs. Perry getting the budget ready for the school year. And then, of course, all the construction and everything that happens. And when you have a timeline of a definitive date, which is the start of the school year, things have to be ready. So I just appreciate all that happens behind the scenes, and just want each of our departments to give a quick overview of what we've done this summer.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. Good morning, board members. So how we spent our summer, and I will say that 8 weeks can go really quick. And I could say, with the time that I've been at the district office, this has been one of the busier summers, especially on the operations side, but really throughout the whole district. And we're going to go through each of the departments, and I'm going to focus on the operation side of things, but we'll dive into finance, HR, MIS, community relations, and curriculum instruction. From the operations side, we have talked about some of these things, but I will say that I don't want to just skip over Pineview and Destin. Those were big, large projects, and I will say, especially for Pineview, that was years of work to get ready to open here in a couple weeks. And when I say years of work, we've been talking with all of our departments for over a year on how this is going to roll out. So when we talk about opening a new school, you have to have HR involved, finance involved, curriculum instruction, the union. And we met once a month for several months to make sure we weren't missing anything. So it was a collaborative effort, and it was really a lot of teamwork amongst the departments for something that large scale. But facilities and maintenance, we're finishing up those two projects. We have other projects that we've talked about. Old cafeterias being converted. We talked about HVAC throughout the district, but Bruner being one of the larger ones. Shutting down a cooler and changing out cooling tower and a chiller is not easy in the amount of time that we have over the summer. We've doing parking lots. We're still doing roofing. Elliott Point was another difficult project that you have to squeeze in a certain amount of time. Most of that work was done at night, but they're finishing that up. The two schools that we have closed was another team effort to move all the furniture and supplies that were in those buildings. So a big shout out to our maintenance department. They did a great job, along with the teachers as well. They had to box some of their supplies up in curriculum supplies, and then that had to be moved to the locations that staff was moving to. So it took some time. Things are looking good there. We had to move some portables, which is always a challenge. And then continue with our district and facilities preventive maintenance that we try to do over the summer, and several other projects from flooring to restriping parking lots, roof repair, and on and on. So facilities and maintenance, it's been a busy summer. We've highlighted some of these projects over the last few board meetings, but that department has been extremely busy. Transportation is another one that has been steadily trying to put things in place since we've got out of school, to include rezoning two large areas. So in the north with Pineview coming on and the two schools closing in the south, all those zones had to be redone. And Ryan Gore and his team and the routing coordinators have been implementing the software to help us put that in place. And now we're communicating with our families on where the new bus routes and stops and times are going to be. That was a big undertaking. Along with installing new software and technology into the buses. So last week we finished installing tablets in the buses, which is going to help us with our new routing software for our bus drivers and for our parent communication, so parents can see where those buses are. So it's been a big summer for transportation as well. Food service continued to feed kids all through the summer. I think I gave an update a few meetings ago and said we were right at 20,000 meals served. So just in June, we served over 28,000 lunches and over 18,000 breakfasts for our students. So they were busy. Along with feeding students, you also have to prepare for the upcoming year. So we were updating and doing some improvements in several of our kitchens. We had to move equipment around, order new equipment, and then, of course, order and be ready and stocked for when the first day of school starts so we can feed students as well. We also had a state audit during that time, which came back favorable. So we're proud of those guys and doing everything that they have to and following the regulations. So with those departments, we have stayed busy, and I'd love to have a few more weeks to finish up some things, but we'll be ready. So from the operations standpoint, that's what we did this summer.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Meyer, and good morning. So as Mr. Meyer was just saying, I wish we had a few more weeks to get all of these folks hired, but Human Resources is taking away, and so I wanted to start with our hiring number updates. So for instructional employees, we have hired so far 98 new hires. We have 38 who are still in the queue. We're waiting on fingerprints, our newcomers training, and then we have 7 offers out pending and 44 open jobs, which is the same exact amount of jobs we had this time last year. So similar to last summer. And then for support, we have hired so far 99 employees, and we have 47 open jobs, which almost half of those are in the custodial realm. So we are going to be working on figuring out some exciting new ways we can maybe focus on custodial new hires in this next 10 days or so. But so those are where we are for hiring numbers. And then I wanted to talk about some of the things that we have done to help with hiring this summer. So a few weeks ago, we said we were going to look at some innovative ways to do some job fairs, and we have done that. So last week, we had the bus driver job fair at the Transportation North office in Crestview, and it was our most successful bus driver venture that we have done yet. We actually hired or have in the queue 6 bus drivers from that one event. Those folks got to come up there, learn how to drive the bus, see if it's for them. And one of those bus drivers is actually starting training today. So Thursday we had that job fair, and that person is starting today on learning how to get their CDL and drive their bus. So we were very, very excited about that, and appreciate the transportation team working with us and having their trainer out there and getting everybody excited. And then we also did something new at Silver Sands, and we had what we were calling a career exploration and job fair. So we had members of our ESE department come to Silver Sands. We had a job fair. People were able to come walk around the school, learn about the training that we offer you if you want to work with these students. And from that event on Friday, we were actually able to hire a VE teacher. And we have 1 parapro in the queue to be hired, and we also secured 2 subs who said, yes, I am willing to come into Silver Sands and be a substitute. So I was very excited about both of those events and think that we're moving in the right direction with going into the neighborhoods and seeking folks who are around those schools and want to make a community. Okay, and then we have also, so today is the New Teacher Institute over at Northwest Florida College, where we're inviting all of these new hires, these 98 new hires were invited to come and learn about what it means to be part of the OCSD family, and we are so excited and happy to host them. And our professional services department has been working around the clock to make sure that today is a great and wonderful day for them. The professional services department has also recorded, we've helped over 300 teachers recertify. So that's something that we don't necessarily remember is a huge part of being a teacher, is making sure that we help those educators get recertified with this state. And we also Something new that we did this year is the risk management department under Miss Cato has gone to the operations trainings and talked about safety things. We've never done this before, but she went to the transportation meetings, the custodial meetings, and the maintenance meetings to say, hey, we appreciate you guys. We know how hard you're working, but also how can we help you make your jobs more safe, therefore helping the school district. So that was a new and exciting venture that we have done. And then the last new thing that we are going to be doing, this is coming up August 4th, is the Human Resources Office is hosting a front office customer service training for all of our front office staff. And we really want that to be equal parts support and appreciation for those first line encounters in all of our schools, and then also provide them with some tools and resources to make their jobs easier. You know, when you are the first person, we want you to be welcoming our families, and we want to give you some tools to make you feel capable and able to do those things. So we are rocking and rolling and ready for August 11th, and looking forward to all those new kiddos coming in and our new teachers. And I think I am passing it over to Mr. Spolsky.
Thank you, Ms. Maxey. Good morning once again. Good to see everyone. For those out there watching in the public, I'll take a little moment here to speak to these two slides for MIS. First of all, you can see there's some graphics up there, and we went through some major changes with our zoning boundaries and those things that really ran into that project with the construction of OTC North and also Pineview. And with the changes in the south, as we went through that consolidation project there, MIS and our programmers up there worked diligently to make sure that the 26-27 school year on the ERP side and then the SIS side is unfolding smoothly. So all those schedules have rolled, and we're ensuring that our parents have access to resources and tools. And I encourage parents to go out there and look at our zoning website where our locator is up on the 26-27 school year so that they can check to see and make sure they're all plugged into that information. Also there in the picture, you can see that was our OCSD district team where we did a reunification exercise. This was a functional exercise where we got together with all of our new personnel that have been assigned to the reunification team. So these are existing employees where we went and did some changes. As we had some retirements here and there, we had to put new people in place to make sure that it's seamless as we go through this exercise. I think it's critical that we practice this throughout the year. And of course, Mr. Dean, our director of Osage Schools, leads that. In addition, our director of Osage Schools, Mr. Dean, myself, Ms. Card, Mr. Murillo, we attended a 96 test wing reunification exercise last week where we were working with a large conglomeration of fire, EMTs, defenders, police. Very, very valuable exercise for us to go through some of the different things as a group to provide support should we need something of that nature. So, also one of the things that we've been very, very busy with is communicating. We're out there not only as the Okaloosa Public School Foundation. I know I see our board members. I saw Mr. Destin. I saw Mr. Heinley this weekend working with Striving for Perfection at the Back to School Bash. We also support the CTE summer camps so that our littles can get out there and do hands-on work and keep those brain cells moving. And you can see on the left-hand side of the slide, we're very excited that we launched Apogee in Rooms, where it provides two-way communication from the parent and the teacher. Ms. Demers helped roll that out early so that we could look at any of the different nuances of that communication tool. In the bottom left there, you see Ms. Card. We have now received both state and national recognition for our annual report. We are so excited that our digital and our media excellence is just being recognized not only by us, but also by these other agencies. That one there is a picture with Catherine with the Sunspro. I think it's very exciting to see that. You also see there's a little two logos in the middle. One there says Minecraft Education. We are expanding esports to elementary this year. We did a rollout where we've had a high school esports, very competitive. We then expanded to middle school esports, and now we are rolling out to elementary schools. This would be an after-school venture, which helps build collaboration, community, competition. A lot of social interaction happens in these esports, and makes the little fellas be a part of a team and enjoy those activities. Below that is our Florida Public School badge in terms of the Purple Star District and our Purple Star schools. This week we will get on a MIC3 webinar, which they are asking across the state, what is Okaloosa County School District doing to really earn that badge? So we'll be on there with Andrew Weatherhill and the Florida Department of Education, sharing some of the things we do to prop up our military-connected families out there. You know, we're blessed in this area to have so many different types of families that are involved with our armed services. And then, of course, Ms. Ivanchek would want me to say, stuff the bus. The boss mentioned that this weekend. We'll be at all of the Walmarts. We've been around. In fact, I was at Origin Bank last week where they had their Stuff the Bus box out there with backpacks and Crayola markers and all the things that our different kids use. So please get out there and support our young folks as they get excited. And they truly do get excited about August 11th and what's happening. So thank you. I turn it over to Dr. Small.
Hello. Curriculum and instruction, a summer of learning, leading, and launching has been incredible. I love my job because we're always learning and finding new ways to engage student learning. And this summer did not disappoint, keeping me up at night through all the stimulation and discussions that we've had as a team. We've been learning, leading, and launching. In the middle in orange there, we'll start with the learning. These are just a few of the things that we narrowed it down to share with you today. And the first one was a mega conference that's held annually. It's international and national. Two different groups come together for a mega conference. And this year, it just happened to be in Orlando. So Okaloosa County Schools had intense representation at this conference in Orlando through principals, assistant principals, and teachers all engaging in new ways to learn. So the title of the conference, just to give you an idea, it is the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development and the International Society for Transforming Education Association. So these guest speakers and engaging activities led us to ignite new ideas and develop the ideas that were already deep-seated in our gut to help formulate new ways of leading our organization, but also our students. So we learned anything from how to improve attendance, to how to care for mental health in better ways, to engaging students through active participation in curriculum, to how to integrate responsibly technology to make us more productive and our students more productive. It was a very exciting conference. One result I just got yesterday is the principal from Fort Walton Beach High School. She just put on with her staff a podcast that she's launching for welcoming the students back, and her team of administrators created it. She gave me a sneak peek preview. It is phenomenal, but the goal was to give back teachers time in their classroom through the podcast tool. So great things happening as a result of attending that conference. Very grateful for the opportunity. We had a Summer Literacy Institute. We had the Bureau of Standards Instructional Support Math Summit. Again, all participants learning and engaging their minds to bring back to Okaloosa County. We also have been developing over months the Okaloosa County School District Professional Learning plan. So we have a stack here in my hand where principals have been developing their own plans for the first day back with teachers that are directly related to their school performance plans. And we've had several voluntary learning going on here at the district. Regarding leading, we did develop that 65-page comprehensive evidence-based reading plan through a team of people in our department that really focuses on the Florida's formula for success in literacy. 6 components for teaching reading, 4 types of assessment, our Tier 1 core instruction made up of 5 areas: explicit instruction, scaffolding, differentiation, content-rich curriculum, and writing in response to reading, as well as that formula based on Tier 2 interventions for students that we want to stretch to meet our mark. And then that comprehensive plan also includes deep, intensive Tier 3 instruction for those 1-2% of students that need a more guided and intense plan. But that comprehensive plan is ready for your review, and I thank you for taking a look at it. We also, another large document that takes a lot of planning by a lot of people is the pupil progression plan. So that will be forthcoming in those final stages now. That's reviewed annually, and teams of teachers and administrators and district personnel all work together on that. The school performance plans, we've been working all summer to talk to every single school about their plan. And I'm happy to report that next week will be the wrap up, but each school developed one that looked like this, that was highly customized and personalized to their students' needs at each particular school. And we hold small group meetings to discuss this and their goals for the upcoming year and the implementation plan. So very exciting conversations going forward there. And lastly, we've been launching. For example, remember that we adopted HMH. This is the new text for elementary school. So teachers and administrators have been training on what are the components here, how does it fit with our curriculum guides, the pacing, what is in store for our kids ahead with that kind of professional learning. It's been going on all summer. Reimagine Kindergarten, of course, we are still recruiting students and they're signing up and are committed to our schools. That number is growing, but we are excited about what the teachers will be offering our students in the coming year. So finite details regarding that. We've also been launching the plans for the accelerated 3rd grade math program. And finally, the expansion of our art and music program. I'm happy to say those are all meetings and hiring have taken place. Principals are meeting to establish their schedules. We're on go. And that is, in a nutshell, what we've been working on this summer.
And I'm sure that you guys might be hazarding a guess as to what I've been doing. So the budget process actually begins in February. Ends first board meeting in September. It's a long process, a lot of people involved. And this has been a very challenging one. So this summer, of course, we were finalizing, getting that budget balanced, talking with Moody's and Fitch, trying to convince them about, they had to rate us again because of our COPs. Our investor advisor, Jerry Ford, said that we are in rare company and that both Fitch and Moody's kept us stable and did not drop our ratings like they've done all these other school districts around the state. So we're very, very proud of that. It just trying to not only do the budget, but close out the old year. You saw June, $69 million in payroll and accounts payable, because there's just a lot at the end of the year, getting ready for the new year, doing the cost report, doing the annual financial report. So summer's just the busiest for finance.
And you can see there just in a few minutes, just a snapshot of all that occurs. And these are the folks up here speaking, but the work happens there, but also it's happening with their departments all throughout. And when you look at, again, a finite deadline of August 11th being that first day of school, work has to get accomplished. So just appreciate all the work that's happened over the course of the summer to get us to where we are today. And with that, Mr. Chair, that is it right now.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chambers. All right. Board members, we're going to hop back. That closes out 12. Moving to section 13, we have board members' announcements, requests for information. So, Mr. Heinley, you want to kick us off?
Today's 27th. Who's the 27th president? Who was the 27th president of the United States?
I looked it up. I was not sure.
Okay.
Mr. White, you want to venture a guess? You want to just lean on me?
I'll pass.
Okay, fair enough. It was one of the biggest presidents, I think, right?
You are correct.
All right, I think it was Taft.
Yes.
Yep.
Biggest
physically. Now, what was his other distinction, though? I think he served in 2 roles. He's the only guy.
Yep, he's the only president, later became part of the Supreme Court, and he was Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. The job he wanted all along before the presidency.
Yeah, it's just a stepping stone to the next thing.
And he never actually got stuck in the bathtub. That's sort of like an urban legend.
It's apocryphal, yeah. Anything else further? Okay. I'm going to save anything I've got for tonight. Dr. White?
Nothing today.
Okay, you guys are making it easy. Then, moving on from 13, tonight will be 14.1, which will be public comments, yellow card. And then we're going to move over into our public hearings, which is section 15. Mr. McGinnis, Superintendent, do we have Ms. Perry? She might give us an overview, and then we'll go item by item.
Perfect.
Great.
There it is. Okay. So tonight, we're going to have the preliminary and tentative budget presented for a public hearing and for approval. Just wanted to go over the proposed millage. When I asked for the advertisement, we thought it was going to be 3.079 for required local effort. That is the amount that the state approved. That's a reduction of 0.05 mils for required local effort. Reminder that we have no choice in that millage. We have to levy exactly what they tell us. If we don't receive the $145.5 million coming from the state. And the required local effort has been going down over 31 years. It was 6.53 31 years ago. So it's definitely reducing over the years. Now the discretionary operating millage, it is 0.748. This is called discretionary because technically they say that we don't have to levy it, yet all the districts levy it. The state includes it when they're calculating our revenue. So they expect us to levy the whole thing. And the capital outlay, 1.5, is considered discretionary. But if we didn't do that, we wouldn't have any capital outlay money. The state gives us about $1 million. So then we have this, and then hopefully we can continue with its half-cent sales tax. So the total millage is at 5.327. Decrease of 0.05. Now Friday, we published our district budget ads. The first thing we had to publish was a notice of budget hearing. Now this is different. In the last 20-something years, ever since I've been in finance, it's always been a notice of property tax increase. Because even though the required local effort was going down, because there were new houses being built, property value was going up, so the property revenue was increasing, so we had to advertise property tax increase. Well, for the first time in my memory, the property income is not increasing. So this is just a notice of budget hearing, no tax increase.
I have a statement on that. So I had touched on this at the last thing about rollback rate. So with this, what they dictated from the state, 3.079, that is below what the theoretical rollback rate is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
Yes, the combination of that plus our 748 and 1.5 is all still below the rollback rate.
So we're bringing in less money from our property tax than we did last year.
Yes, yes. So then we also had to advertise the notice of tax for school capital outlay. That's about $47.89 million for the 1.5. And then the budget summary ad. Now, the budget summary ad is showing a proposed operating budget with a 0.6% increase. I wanted to just show you a breakdown. So you can see the general fund, it says increasing 4.5 million. And then I've got each of the different funds and I've broken out the capital. The total operating budget for the calculation for the ad shows 0.6%. You don't include COPs because remember that we were 843 million total budget last year. This year it's 736, but that's because we had those one-time sources. The COP money, it's a loan. As we spend it, the budget's going to go down. That's a natural thing. And I wanted to do a breakdown of the general fund so you could see where that $4.51 million increase is. Well, you can see the new revenue is actually going down 1.77 million. Where the increase is in the capital transfer. And then you can see there's a larger reserve for encumbrance, 2.29 million. That's because we've had all the schools buying their state textbooks. So they're all on purchase order, the money's encumbered.
So we had that money and now we're about to spend it. Is what you're saying.
So then we just wanted kind of what you call like the state of the district, letting you know the budget challenges that have been faced for 26-27. And the biggest of which is the projected FTE reduction of 1,234 unweighted FTE. And when your FTE is reduced, your classroom teacher units are likewise reduced. That's a natural fallout. But just to keep in mind that revenue reduction is 11.1 million, but the teacher classroom reduction is only 4.8. So you're talking about over 6 million more that you have to come up with, which that's why it makes these declining enrollments so hard. So not only did we have the $11.1 million FTE reduction, we're opening a new school. And when you open a new school, it's not that you have additional revenue, you have some additional expenses, but we needed to do that because our schools were, the North is growing so much. We had a few custodial position changes, textbook adoption. As we know, the money that we've set aside for textbooks was the same amount the state gave us. Rather than increasing our revenue for textbooks, the state just moved the money into the base student allocation and said, take care of it. So we've been able to put that off for a little while because of ESSER money, but yes, we're having to increase money for textbooks. We set aside 1.6 million as a potential need for SRO contract. Dental insurance went up, miscellaneous increases, $17.6 million worth of budget challenges.
The variable up there, the $9,000 per UFTE, does the state ever change? I mean, it's been that way for a couple of years.
It's been that way for a few years. Yeah, it's pretty good. And that includes everything, categoricals, local revenue. everything.
And they give us that number. That's what they base it on.
Well, I looked at the FEFP and just calculated it,
I got you.
what the average was.
Okay.
So this year, we were able to reduce the adoption cost by $800,000. So now we've only got $16.8 million to make up.
Only.
I have a question.
Only.
I have a question, Ms.
Yes, sir.
Perry, about the SRO contract. Could you
Yes,
go
sir.
back to that? What is that 1.6 million?
That is, there was the potential discussion that they may want us to pay more towards the SRO contract with I think there's a misconception that Safe Schools is just extra money, a grant, that kind of thing, and it's not. The way that what happened was in 2018, the state had finalized the budget for schools, and then unfortunately, the Parkland shooting happened. So then they went back and they said, okay, we've given money to schools for safe schools and mental health. Well, the way they did it was they reduced our base student allocation, and they moved money over into the categoricals. So the money was never extra. It was always a part of our basic operation. So now, when you look at an SRO categorical, some people think it's extra. But we would have had more operating money if that had never been pulled out. Does that make sense?
So I want to clarify that and to the public as well, everybody in here. So the BSA, so that money was always there. The state says you just got to use this amount of money for safe schools.
Right. They pulled it out.
They didn't give us any more money. They just said you will now have to spend it on mental health or hardening or whatever you're going to in your district. So it's not a grant. It wasn't additional money to us. It just says you will spend it this way.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And the last few years, I mean, it hasn't increased at all, even though the prices keep going up with SRO contract.
So I still want to, the fine point is 1.6 million. That's an increase in cost? I mean, what is that?
What I did was I looked at the cost of the contract, subtracted the safe schools, and divided the rest in half. I said if they were trying to say safe schools was to be separate, and then we pay 50% of the rest, it would cost us 1.6 million more.
Out of our revenue? What we've already budgeted?
Right. And we're already putting like about 1.4 million from our operating budget into with the safe schools to get the contract.
And we've certainly been grateful to the county commissioners for their help with this.
Definitely.
And other items as well. And I'll never forget Sheriff Ashley standing before this board and saying that these 30,000 students in our schools, pick whatever number you want, they're Okaloosa County citizens too. And they deserve to be protected.
Yes.
And that was his position, and thankfully it's been the county's position. So we've had a good partnership there.
Yes, we have.
Well, I appreciate you. Ms. Perry, I appreciate you putting that as potential set aside for some potential discussion. I hope that the county commission does their political calculus on whether or not they want to continue having the defense of school children as a part of their budgetary discussions. I leave it to them and their wisdom to figure out how far they want to go with it. But I appreciate the partnership we've had up to this point. I think the school district, I'll echo Commissioner Palmer's feelings on it, which is, I think, accurate. We're in the education business. Now, we're in the school, student protection, defense, and protection business now that the world has changed. I mean, I think the very first school shooting that occurred was during, I think I was in 7th grade. They just didn't really happen before the late 90s. And so we have to adapt, but we're educators. And as Mr. Ashley said, Dr. White quoted him, those children are our constituents. They're in the public safety business. We're going to figure this out together. But I understand everybody has budget constraints, budget challenges. But I think the last place the general public wants to find us a way to balance the budget is going to be on the protection of children. So, I mean, I'm happy to continue these discussions. I don't know if there's anything for us to take action on. They're going through their budget process. If something changes, is there an idea from any board members or anybody else who, I mean, we may have to designate someone to go talk to the county commission at some point so we can hammer this stuff out. But I understand the anticipatory part of it. But, you know, the system we've got right now, I personally believe the school district has always been a half partner in this and would love to hold hand in hand continuing. But I understand that there are some commission members or member that feel a little bit different. But is there anything we need to do from a preparation standpoint, you guys feel?
So I would just like to add even before that, so when you look at this budget, it's about an $8.4 million budget, somewhere right in that area. And I want to echo what Dr. White said, just very much appreciate our county commissioners, currently our county commissioners of the past, that went into this venture with us. And that venture was a 50-50 split on our school resource officers. As you go back in time, as you might remember, we didn't have school resource officers at every single one of our schools. And now, not only do we have that, but our high schools have 2. And so that partnership with our county commissioners is critical. School resource officers is one layer of our safety, but probably one of the most critical layers of our safety. But we always talk about school safety in layers. When you start talking about funds going towards the other layers, and many of those layers we can't speak of because we can't give out that information, those are being funded from other areas. So we have our operating dollars, our safe schools dollars, so to speak, even though it's part of our formula, which helps us with our school resource officers. But then everything else we do, in essence, comes from our capital dollars to be able to do things such as video surveillance and many other things. So safety is a multi-million-dollar investment, and there's probably nothing more important than that investment, because it's for our students and our employees and for the peace of mind, so to speak, of this community. So again, could not be more grateful for the partnership that we've had, and hopefully for the partnership that we will continue. But also to your question, we will be in conversations with the Okaloosa County, and then what the dynamics of that looks like is still continuing. So Mr. Hofstede over at the county, I have spoken with, and we will continue to have conversations around this. I understand their budget, but I also understand our budget and the critical need to have the strongest layers possible for the safety of our students and our employees.
Mr. Hiley?
Mr. Chair, so we'll see how these conversations go, but as far as the board's concerned, if the board needs a person to step up and have this conversation just to represent the board, you know, over there, I will gladly volunteer that if that's what it comes down to.
Certainly appreciate that. Colleagues, anything further on that one specific point? Ms. Perry, you good?
Well,
Mr. Superintendent?
just one follow-up question. So the fact that 1.6 million is up there, that's a potential cost that we're anticipating that you may have to do some budget adjustments for.
Yes, sir, we were.
Before you answer that, and so that 1.6 that's there was in a potential anticipation of what could come. In terms of maybe more recent events, that 1.6 would potentially turn into a different number.
About 5, it would be about 4, well, it'd be 4.4.
Correct.
4.4 is the entirety of what the county commission is currently contributing, if they were to go to zero?
Is it 4.4 or 4.2?
4.4 next
So
for the
4.4 million. So that 1.6 million would now turn into 4.4 million. And so now we'd be looking at, and hopefully my math is correct, another 2.8 million added to that 17.6 million.
That was good public math.
So should that occur, then will you be coming forth with a budget adjustment, or how do you propose we resolve that big figure?
We would have to.
Well, let's certainly hope it doesn't come to that. Okay.
Yeah.
Any further? Okay. Ms. Perry, sorry to go off on a little bit of a
No,
tangent.
This was very, very good topic. So first thing you're going to look at when you're trying to balance your budget is how much more new revenue did we receive? We received 6.1. When the House and the Senate were meeting, one of them, it would have been like 8.4 would have been our increase, and one would have been 7.2. So we thought we would come somewhere in between. Instead, we received 6.1. So then when you look at the retirement, I always look at the retirement rates to see if there's going to be an increase in cost. This year, they're actually reducing a little bit, so it'll save us $500,000. And then we've been directed, as you could see on the instructional item, that 1.06% of our money has to be spent for raises for classroom teachers with 10 or more years of Florida public school experience. So that's 1.9 million. So we can't touch that for anything else. So now that means our net increase of revenue is about 4.7 million. So it still leaves us with $12.1 million to overcome. So I wanted to show you the strategies that I can't think of the word. The strategies we used, one of the things was that the board adopted a resolution to have CAPE money help maintain classroom instruction, CTE classroom instruction, just like the ACE, AP, IB dual enrollment programs. There's the classroom instructional positions that I mentioned at 4.8 million. Mary Esther and Longwood were closed. There was a department level restructure, and I misspelled that word, and that's really going to bother me now, of 835,000. A department operating reduction of 345,000. We wanted to make sure that we use our 1.5 capital to the best of our ability, and one of the things that we realized was we could fund our facilities department just like we fund our maintenance department. So that was 400,000, and we're transferring another 2 million, which you saw that increase in capital transfer to help fund a portion of the bus driver's salaries and benefits. Just as a side note, we receive about $7 million, the transportation department costs $15 million to run. We receive about 7 to 7.5 million. So the rest of the money has to come from our operating budget. The state allowed us to, by statute, to use some 1.5 to help with that shortfall. Then we reduced some positions not on the staffing grid. It was mostly TSA deans. And we had one little revision of the staffing grid. So you can see we actually ended up with a positive 1.8 million. And that 1.8 million is for any other remaining salary increase other than classroom teachers, 10 years or more. And it's for any other increase that might come up that, we weren't aware of. But we're balanced, and we have some money at the bottom. So do you have any questions?
More of a statement. Can you throw that
Go back.
slide back up there?
This one?
That's a lot of hard work right there. A lot of hard work and a lot of strategy went into that. I mean, if you look in there, the department level restruction, that's a big percentage decrease that they dropped down. They limited some positions. The 1.5 money, taking that money out, that takes away capital money to spend. So it would be really hard to do without that 0.5-cent sales tax. I mean, I would almost say impossible for what the level is. So, kudos to y'all. That's a lot of hard work, and that wasn't done just as a reaction. Y'all worked on this thinking what was coming ahead and doing this. And of course, dealing with the SRO, that may even change that a little bit. So we'll have to react to it.
Yes, sir. And that's the point I wanted to follow up. So I think what I understand the conversation to be, there may be the need for an additional 4 million. Is that the number?
Yeah, 2.8.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Berry.
Okay, so board members, if you like the idea, so in 15, we have 20 public hearings, and Ms. Perry's here. So I'm just going to go down and read these, and if you have questions, of course, pop up, and as we go item by item, you can ask them. I'm sure Ms. Perry can come back up and answer them, but otherwise, we will get these onto the record. And so tonight, we will do 15.1. That's the required local effort millage rate of 3.079 mils. This one's going to be presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Then will be 15.2, the basic discretionary operating millage rate of 0.748 mils, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. We will do 15.3, which is a public hearing on the capital outlay millage rate of 1.5 mils, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.4 will be total millage levy at a rate of 5.327 mils, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.5 will be a public hearing on the resolution 26-07, adopting the tentative millage rates for fiscal year 26-27, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.6, yes, sir, go ahead.
You're about to go through it, but the next 14 are all from that last slide, or 2 slides ago. Every single one of these items was highlighted right there as you're going down it. Just
That's right.
Information.
That's right. Thank you, sir. 15.6 will be Okaloosa County School District preliminary and tentative budget, the general fund for fiscal year 26 and 27, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.7 is the Okaloosa County School District preliminary and tentative budget. This is the special revenue funds for food service for fiscal year 26-27, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent. 15.8 is the Okaloosa County School District preliminary and tentative budget special revenue funds, other federal programs, Fund 420 for fiscal year 26-27, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.9, Okaloosa County School District preliminary and tentative budget special revenue funds, miscellaneous internal funds, Fund 490 for fiscal year 26-27, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.10 will be Okaloosa County School District preliminary and tentative budget debt service funds for fiscal year 26-27, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.11 will be the Okaloosa County School District preliminary and tentative budget capital project funds for fiscal year 26-27, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.12 is the Okaloosa County School District preliminary and tentative budget internal service funds for fiscal year 26-27, presented by Ms. Perry, recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.13 is going to be the Okaloosa County School District preliminary and tentative budget for fiscal year 26-27, presented by Julie Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.14 is it will be the public hearing on resolution 2608, adopting the Okaloosa County School District preliminary and tentative budget for fiscal year 26-27, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.15 will be the public hearing on school district's 5-year capital outlay plan, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.16 is the public hearing for revision of the school board policy 0116, visit to schools. This is presented by Mr. Spolsky and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.17 is the public hearing for adoption of a new school board policy 0440. This is the student check-in, check-out during the school day. This is presented by Mr. Spolsky and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 15.18 is public hearing for the revision of school board policy 0506, the cost for reproduction of student records, presented by Mr. Spolsky and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 1519, public hearing for the adoption of 2026-27 Codes of Student Conduct, Elementary and Secondary. This one is presented by Mr. Humphrey and recommended by the superintendent for approval. And then our last one will be 1520. This is a public hearing for the adoption of a revised job description for school counselor, presented by Ms. Maxey and recommended by the superintendent for approval. 16, of course, is adjournment. 17, we have some public notices. Other than that, colleagues, staff, anything from the union? Looks like we're good. Unless we have something further, we'll adjourn.